So today's video, I'm going to be discussing 5 ways that you can ensure that your images are engaging. I think it's important to ask, well, why? Why is that important? I think it's because a lot of companies, they don't really consider the fact that their imagery isn't communicating what their brand message is or what they're trying to communicate. I think that is why it's important. It's because if you're trying to post something on a particular topic, or you're trying to get across a particular message, your imagery should do that as well and should link together with your message. So I thought today I'd just try and give you 5 ways that I've found and from my experience that you can make sure that your images are in line with your company or your brand message. So let's have a look. If you don't have a photographer or a designer or someone that's doing your image editing, a great resource is stock photo sites. Now you can get quite a few that offer you paid subscriptions or pay per image. This is one that I use quite frequently called Big Stock Photo. I definitely recommend them, or a similar and just as effective stock photo site is Adobe Stock. They possibly have a bigger library than Big Stock, I would say, but you can get quite a few available that allow you to purchase by image, or have an annual plan or a paid monthly plan if you wanted, depending on how many imagery you require. So quite often they will give you sort of categories that you can search by, but generally you just search by what you were looking for. So let's say we wanted to search, if I was running a fashion company and I wanted to find photos that were relevant to fashion, so it's just as simple as just typing in what you want to search for, and you'll see as I do that it will give you some suggestions. But if I just press enter now into the search bar, you'll see that it gives you a fair few options, and these are all high resolution, ready for you to download. And once you click what image you like, quite often they'll ask you what size that you would like to download. So you can see where you can get a small image or a large image if you wanted. So these are really a great resource, I believe, and as well, quite often they'll give you images at the bottom that are related to what you've just searched for. So and it will tell you sort of related keywords as well. If you couldn't quite find the image that you're looking for, you get some suggestions at the bottom in terms of keywords as well. A good one that I quite often use as well is called Unsplash. These are completely free. There's no subscription or paid plan for these images. You don't have to purchase any. They're all commercially free, so you don't have to worry about copyrights or anything like that. So I definitely recommend having a look at these sites that I've just mentioned. And coming on to our next point, actually try and find images that are relevant to your company or your brand or whatever it is that you're trying to communicate to people. I think a lot of the time people will sometimes just choose a random image, and that doesn't always look very good, I don't think. So always try and find images that are relevant to your company or whatever it is that you're doing. The next point I want to look at is infographics. Now, this is quite an effective one that I found earlier on, and I think it's effective in its design. As you can tell, it's been professionally designed, and that works very well because of the colours. So you've got contrasting colours that sort of make you want to read it, and I think that's important. As you just want to make sure that your imagery wants to keep people there to wherever they are. So if they're on your website or on your blog or reading a newsletter, it's important that your graphics actually keep them there. And I think infographics, as in the name, it will give you information in a clear and easy to read way, and that's sometimes I think overlooked. and you can tell that this wants to sort of keep the reader there, as it will sort of pick out some little stats here of certain things, and you've got a bit of illustration, and you've got this nice image in the centerpiece here that I think really draws you in. This is really effective, and then at the bottom here you've got the company's sort of logo and web address with the resources to the right of it. So I think something like this would definitely help you in creating better imagery, and as well just keeping people at the point of where they've come onto your site or accessed your site on. So the next point, just coming back to imagery, is try and look for images that have a lot of depth. So a lot of these here you can see they're already quite well edited, and they do have a lot of sort of shadowing and an atmosphere that makes them look very attractive. Now sometimes you'll get some images that don't always do that. So I'll just show you an example of images that I think you should definitely avoid. So stuff like this that it doesn't really say, stuff like that to me doesn't really say anything. The use of sort of staged photography and things that don't really portray any character or any style, I think you should definitely avoid using. And it just makes you look like everyone else that uses bad imagery, and it's sort of lazy in a way, because you think, well, you want your image to look as professional and as important as your company is. So why would you compromise on your imagery in doing that? So yeah, I would definitely avoid using these sorts of imagery in your website or your brand. The next point number 5, is typography. So this is something that's again I think quite effective. It's simple, in terms of similar to the infographic. It's very simple. So you can tell that this would work quite well on a small screen as well as a large screen. It's very, it tells you what you need to know, absolutely. And I think sometimes in certain instances it's better to use words than images. So I'll definitely have a look at creating some images that just use words and just see what difference it makes in comparison to images. I think you'd be surprised. So yeah, hopefully that's helped, and like I say, with just my quick 5 points really is into what I believe is how you can ensure that your imagery is engaging. So I hope that's helped, and yeah, look out for the next video. Cheers.